let's watch this video. By the way, subscribe to the channel. Link will be down below. I hope I put that in there. Yeah.
Palworld is largely the most controversial and divisive game release that I've seen in a long. And by this point, we have seen it all. It's uninspired, it's plagiarism, it's AI generated, it's theft.
Yeah.
It's only popular because content creators and YouTubers are making videos about it. Let's actually hope that one's true. Last September, I made a video that was titled Baldur's Gate 3 was a wake-up call. And in that video, I took to town a bunch of video game journalists as well as
He's saying exactly what I said in the last video for YouTube. He's talking about how game developers were salty about a good game. And yes, this game has gotten a lot of hate.
Developers that were saying that Baldur's Gate 3 was setting an unrealistic standard for RPGs moving forward. And I talked about the...
Is Palworld setting an unrealistic standard for survival games and also Pokemon? Because we definitely, Nintendo can never make anything like this, right? I mean, minus the guns, they could never make a survival or a good open world game with like bosses or being able to ride on Pokemon. Because that they've never done anything like that, right? They've never let us ride on Pokemon. They've never done that. They've never had, yeah.
State of the AAA industry, how many of our games have lost quality over the years, how every game feels like it's stuffed with microtransactions, obfuscated currency, and bolted on live service models, and we're just exhausted of it, and we want something different.
We are. I don't want the music. Sorry, I keep going back and forth. I just don't want the music to overlap too much. Yes. So what he's saying is true, right? I'm tired of buying a game, and instead of a game, it has a shopping mall in it, right? Like Halo Infinite, when it came out, there was the multiplayer. Literally, there was nothing there, but there was a shopping mall. Diablo 4, it had a great story, and afterward, you found out, well, there's not like a lot of good actual loot in it. All of it was in the shopping store. I mean, Fortnite is... I don't know why people are so desperate to be another Fortnite in terms of money gains. The reason why Fortnite is successful is because they have so much game, and then they have good value cosmetics. I've dropped maybe $30, $40 in Fortnite, but because the game is free, it has the ability to do creative mode, which gives you hours of more free content. You can also, it now has Legos, like Lego Minecraft. It has like Band Hero. It also has racing in it, like, and it's all free. The content, that the value proposition that is free is stupid crazy. The events they do is stupid crazy. And you don't even have to pay a single dime to get all that package. But then you have games, like I said, Diablo 4, with all the $30 for just a piece of armor. You have free to play games like, what, Valorant? And it's like a skin for $200 something. The most brain dead, degen people obviously buy that. But like, why? Why are we settling for crap when, like, everyone wants to use Fortnite as the gold standard? Then give us the good gameplay that comes with it and the good value proposition. People are tired of the scummy tactics. Halo Infinite died, and it's on life support. Diablo 4 is on life support. Destiny 2, life support. All these games that are just scummy. How many single player games or half-baked that no one plays, like Starfield? Like, let's look at that. Let's look at Starfield on Steam. And that's pretty big, right? Starfield Steam charts. And it's not including Xbox, but I guarantee you it's not going to be that much bigger. Yeah. Even Starfield was nowhere near as hype as Palworld's is. And again, Palworld's is the same thing as Starfield. It is on Game Pass. So there's going to be an argument, well, it's on Xbox. So is Palworld's. In fact, I'm curious. Let's see. Let's do it live. Palworld Xbox charts. I don't care. Xbox Game Pass new card smashes sales. Seeing sold over 5 million over copies, but that doesn't tell me anything about Fortnite TV. Palworld has already become the 5th high all current played game on Steam. I mean, it's even higher than this, right? Like, where's Palworld surpasses Fortnite in daily Xbox players? That's crazy. Yeah, it's just for one day. Okay, well, I mean, that's the thing that I hate, is that we don't see. We obviously things are going up. Official most Xbox played game. Okay, so look, I think this was 4 days ago, but this is a great indicator of where we're at in the rankings on just Xbox. Obviously, Call of Duty is actually nowhere near it, and Steam's. But on Xbox, look, look at all, it's beating Halo Infinite, Grand Theft Auto, Minecraft. It is beating Minecraft. Granted, it's not on PC, but I'm just saying. Starfield. Look at Starfield's nowhere in the system right now. And that's just a good indicator that a game is doing well.
Different. Palworld is teaching a completely different type of lesson.
It is.
And today I want to talk about some of the articles that I've read, some of the comments that I've seen, and see if we can teach them a thing or two.
Let's do it.
With its current peak of over 2 million players on Steam and over 8 million copies sold already, Palworld is likely to be the biggest and fastest selling release of 2024.
I don't think
there's a game that seemingly came out of nowhere and was written.
I don't think so. The game didn't really come out of nowhere. It was advertised, and when it first came out, people were like, "Oh, Pokemon guns," and everyone thought it was a meme. No one took this game seriously, and that's important, right? You have a game like Starfield, which is anticipated. People were all ready to spend their cash money on it. And then you have Palworld, which was considered a meme. You have highly anticipated versus the meme game. And the meme game already had more sales in one day than probably Starfield. Because people quickly found out that this game's good, and when people played Starfield, they quickly found out this game is trash. And so people got a refund on Starfield, and people are buying Palworld.
Written off by most people.
Isn't it crazy what a good game can do, especially word of mouth?
Well before its release, is now contending like a heavyweight in a growingly saturated market of survival games that's made by a handful of developers that learned on the job.
Yeah, like there's Rust, there's The Forest, there's 7 Days to Die, but that's all zombies. PUBG is not PUBG. Daisy. I don't think it has crafting, but it does have survival. Like there's a lot of these old veteran games that have been out for some time. The survival genre is not the hottest genre, and honestly, it might, and even Ark Survival, right? But I don't even like. I know I keep checking, but I think data is very important. So let's see, Ark Survival Steam charts. Yeah, so even now, this is not even it. Ark Survival with dinosaurs is not even the most popular. And again, this is based on Steam charts, but we've already seen that Palworld on Xbox is like hot. This game is blowing expectations. And I know there's like a new one, right? Yeah, Ark Survival Ascended. So this is the new one. So let's be fair. In game. So this is what's currently, right? Not even close. Look at this. Even the second one isn't as hot. None of these games are beating out Palworld. I'm telling you, this is game of the year material. This is game defying. And the fact that you are seeing this kind of results is making everyone upset, which is beautiful. Because at the end of the day, you could tell me that this game was AI generated and it could be proven true. You can tell me that they stole assets from Pokemon, and you could say it was, if in the mythological world you say it was true. and it was true. I still would not care. And 8 million people who bought it will not care because it's fun. Wow. Do you think that's going to make all these people say, you know what? I'm not going to play anymore. No. People are still going to play it.
$10,000 budget and a gas station worker. Palworld is...
That's right. They found a gas station worker, a convenience store. Holy crap. The guy that made the guns was like a random dude that they found. But hey, that's the thing. Like, you find people with skills who just don't have an opportunity to apply themselves. That is the most insultful thing. They found a dude who had a hobby, who was pretty good at it, and they put him on this game. Is now one of the most popular games of the year, and it's doing better than Call of Duty, which has a triple A company that puts a lot of detail and effort in their guns. And this game's blowing it away.
It's not innovative. It's not groundbreaking. And the company's head has no interest in any of those things. As seen in a Japanese television interview, the CEO said, "I don't have any creative vision.
Yep.
I just want to make a game that people like." And
Imagine
Palworld
that.
is just that. It's fun. It's a game that people like.
Exactly.
And I've seen a lot of people try to intellectualize what is fun, what is enjoyable.
And those people are people that are 10% logic and 90% seething. I don't understand. Like, people are like, there's people out there that are generally attacking other people, excuse me, for playing this game. Listen, if you don't like Palworld, that's okay. I'm not gonna hate on you, right? No one's gonna hate on you if you don't like Palworld. It's not your cup of tea. Listen, I don't like Baldur's Gate. I'm gonna say it. I don't care for it. It's not my game. That kind of genre is not my game. But even I can say, I can recognize that it's a good game. I can recognize that it's good for everyone. That a game that is well polished, that isn't full of microtransactions, that is complete at release. It's good for everyone. And I'm glad that people had something that they really, really enjoyed. You can say the same thing for Palworld. It's okay.
And try to intellectualize Palworld and why it shouldn't compare to many of the other games that have been released over the last few years, especially the Pokemon games.
Let's get one thing straight. Pokemon, I'm gonna be honest. I've been playing Pokemon Emerald, and I'm having infinitely more fun with the older games than the newer games. I'm gonna be honest. I tried to make my playthroughs entertaining, or at least somewhat fun, but I stood up to play the epilogue for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet with Pecharunt, and I've never been more bored in my life. It was so boring. It is so boring. But again, I'm gonna try to be entertained. I'm gonna try to have some fun with it, but it was so boring. I'm sorry, it was boring. And so you have a game like this where it doesn't even have as much story compared to Pokemon. It doesn't have as much dialogues or cutscenes, but the gameplay is fantastic.
Now, with that said, games don't have to be high fidelity.
No, they
don't have
don't.
to have complicated systems. They don't need massive budgets to succeed.
Exactly.
However, many of these developers over the last few years have been caught in the weeds. They're focusing on these minor aspects of the game,
which is
rather
stupid.
than figuring out how all of those elements can combine into one, connect properly, and make an enjoyable experience. And that's something that Baldur's Gate 3 did.
Exactly.
It took all of those elements that they think is impossible to put together to make a product that people enjoy, and they made a great game, an enjoyable game that people had a lot of fun with and are still.
And people are, I think he was about to say it, that people are still enjoying, and they are. There is a high population, 100K, I think, players is what it was. It is still very much beloved. It is a good game.
Having a lot of fun with. But Palworld's doing something a little bit different. And for completely different reasons, it's making a lot of developers scratch their heads asking why them and not me. A senior artist for Naughty Dog, maker of the Uncharted and Last of Us remastered series, said in a now deleted tweet, "My gut is telling me Palworld was made nefariously. I just have no proof. Just dev intuition." Another artist responded saying, what? "It does feel like that."
Stop it. All right. You know what's nefarious here? Again, I made it a comment in my other video, but when you push out the same game for multiple years, but obviously Bethesda is the #1 leader in that with Skyrim every year. And now it's probably going to be a Starfield for the next 5 years. But pushing The Last of Us multiple times as a remaster of a remake of a remaster of a remake of the remaster, all that is scummy. You have no right to say anything about anyone.
Doesn't it? To which they responded, "Making a game is just so difficult. They're cheating somehow. I just can't pinpoint it." And again,
yes, they're cheating. It's called, instead of pushing agendas, instead of doing half-butt job on things, they focused on the gameplay. Imagine that. When you focus on the core of a gameplay and then make everything around the gameplay, it becomes a good game.
Again, here we are coming back to this conversation of games are so difficult to make. I would imagine it would feel like this studio is cheating when they're outshining your company.
Yeah, that's why, like, let's see, what isn't it, like Vampire Survivors or something like that? That became really hot. Hollow Knight, really hot. These indie games that are popping off. And guess what? They're not like AAA Call of Duty, Last of Us, Starfield quality, and yet they do really well. Why? Because at the base is good gameplay. When will developers learn this?
Company whose repetitive game design is only out-repeated by how many times you guys re-release the same game while trying to chase Bethesda's record with Skyrim. And now, while this is an isolated tweet and an isolated conversation, I find this developer's attitude to be much in line with the lack of accountability that we saw during the pushback of Baldur's Gate 3, where developers from both Blizzard and Naughty Dog came forth saying that Larian was setting an impossible standard for them to reach.
And Blizzard really shouldn't be saying anything, considering their games are actually dog water right now.
What makes games so difficult to make are the unrealistic standards that AAA studios are setting by making games that they want us to have instead of games that we want to play.
Exactly. You have to meet the consumer's desires. When I go shopping for a car, I don't go out there and expect the car dealer to tell me what I need to buy. They're going to try to sell their product to me, but they're not going to tell me, you need to buy this. You're dumb. This is what you want. And when I tell them, you know what? No, I'm looking for a car with these expectations. The car dealer's not going to, no. I'm going to give you this car instead. Guess how many people are really going to buy cars from that car dealer? The same thing with video games. If you don't meet the needs of the consumer and what they want, not what you want them to want, people are going to go elsewhere. And in this case, they're going to non-AAA games, non-AAA companies, and playing better games. That's why indie games are starting to pop off, is because they actually focus on the gameplay instead of being prideful and thinking that they need to milk the tits of gamers and getting what they want out of it. They're focusing on the basics of what a game traditionally is. It's supposed to be fun.
You want an unrealistic standard? You have to sell 40 million copies of a game that has a story that's so sanitized that it wouldn't even offend even the most delicate of flowers. You have to put all of your effort into all...
That's why I love Cyberpunk. That's why Cyberpunk sold really well. Cyberpunk is the most rawest, nastiest game outside of Grand Theft Auto, because they don't care. And that's why it came back. After they fixed everything, Cyberpunk won, obviously, some awards at the Game Awards. But I mean, like, how many people? I'm just curious, for curiosity's sake, how many people are playing Cyberpunk? And it is, I need to beat it, right? The actual base game. Like, how much is Cyberpunk being played? Oh yeah, look at that. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. All-time high. Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, for a single open world game, that's not bad at all. In 24 hours, there's 42. Yeah. Obviously, it's not Palworld level, but that's the new hotness, right? Eventually, this will stabilize. But having the consistency that it is, I mean, Elden Ring did not reach this level. And Elden Ring was Game of the Year. Baldur's Gate did not reach this level, and it was Game of the Year. So I'm just saying.
All areas other than gameplay. You need to gaslight your player base so that they empathize with the hard work that you put in.
Oh yeah, woe is the developers. Our life is so hard. You guys have no idea, because I'm sure none of you have 9-to-5 jobs or 3-to-6 or whatever. You don't know what 40-hour weeks feel like. You don't know the stress of corporate business, because I guarantee none of you are in a corporate business or have anything to do with like struggles. I guarantee you guys aren't struggling to pay your bills like us. Oh no. Oh, woe is me. I'm the victim here. You're all the villains. Give me a break.
The poor decisions that you made. You need to waste $150 million on a marketing budget. You know what? For good measure, let's staple on a live service model and see if it floats.
Ugh. God. Why do we have to do live service? Why do we have to... What happened to the good old day where you can play a game and you can play offline? Payday 3 is a colossal failure because you can't even play offline. Diablo 4, colossal failure because you couldn't play online. Like, I don't understand why they took things that were a thing and you can't do it. Like, imagine if you had to be online to play Pokemon. Like, the entire game. Imagine. So stupid.
Many of the difficulties that AAA studios face are self-imposed restrictions.
Yep.
Self-inflicted wounds. An open-world survival craft RPG monster tamer with guns. Of course the game is going to sell. Of course it's going to do well. But why?
Of course, because the people that love guns and shooter games, box check. Anyone that likes like Minecraft or any crafting game, check. Anyone that likes the survival mechanics of like Ark, check. Anyone that likes Pokemon, double check.
Why has nobody made it until now? Because they're terrified.
Exactly.
Either that or they're too busy worrying about what they want to make for us instead of thinking to themselves and putting their egos aside and saying, what do the players actually want to play?
It's because you can't monetize it. That's why. You can't really monetize a game like that. And that's what these developers, Ubisoft, Blizzard, Activision, EA, all these game developers want to monetize their games. And if a game is not easily monetized through microtransactions or loot boxes or whatever the crap, then they don't want it. They don't want to sell you a complete final game. They want to milk you because they don't make games for fun anymore. They make games to make a profit. That's why they cut corners. That's why games come out half made, but yet the store is completely functional. Like, am I wrong? How many games have you played that were just dog water, but the store is always functional? How many games come out and you can easily spend your cash money in a store in a game while half of the other rest of the game doesn't function? Like Halo Infinite's a great one. Like there was no content, but my God, you could buy as much things from the shop as you wanted.
And by the way, this isn't some social politics thing. Baldur's Gate 3 showed that you can make a game as inclusive as you want, and it can still be fun, and it can still have teeth.
Exactly. I think that's a great point. People are like, let's use Naughty Dog as an example. There was a lot of backlash for Part 2, and the devs used the excuse, well, it's just because people don't like the lesbian scenes or the LGBT aspect. No. What are you talking about? No one cares about that. It's because you made a crappy story. Or at least you did character assassination on beloved characters that you build up. You had this build up and then suddenly there was no payoff. That right off the rip, you just say, you know what? You. We're going to kill the characters you like for no apparent reason. We're not going to build into it. We're not going to earn it. And you're going to love this masculinity aspect of a woman who looks like She-Hulk. That's unrealistic, by the way. And we're going to make all the males look like nothing. And we're going to have this She-Hulk come in and you're going to love her. And if you don't, you're a sexist or you hate, you're homophobic if you don't like that Ellie is gay, which no one gives a crap. Who gives a crap that you want? Like, we all loved Ellie, so the whole woman thing no one cares about because we loved and adore Ellie. No one gives a crap if she's lesbian or not. No one gives a crap. These are just excuses to just blow off gamers who have criticisms about badly made games. I'm just saying. And yes, Last of Us 2 did get Game of the Year, but let's be honest. A lot of the critics and all that were paid. It was a 50-50 within the community. It was a very controversial game because you had people making excuses that people who didn't like it is because of the political agenda bullcrap. And honestly, most people just did not like that you did character assassination on beloved characters, and the story was just like, it was bad.
Most of the criticisms that I've seen float around are the accusations that the game is using AI art or there's plagiarism for the Pokemon franchise. And let's not kid ourselves. They definitely took some creative liberty with their designs for their pals. However, this largely feels like a cope because people are seeing that creativity and originality don't really mean much to the end user. While many...
And that's the thing, right? How many... You can't say you cannot have inspiration. Inspiration cannot be copyrighted. You cannot. How many Digimon, right? Pokemon could have sued Digimon years ago. Digimon could have sued Pokemon, but even though they took inspiration from each other, you can't say that Palworld can't do it either. You can't sue people based on inspiration. Pokemon does not own the monster tamer mechanic. You can't.
Many of us can appreciate art in games. We appreciate fun and enjoyable gameplay more than anything. There's nothing nefarious about Palworld, except maybe that black market trader. That guy gives me nightmares. It's pretty clear that Pocket Pair tried to do too much with their last game, Craftopia. They scaled back, they focused on specific elements, they tossed in some monster taming, and they made a better game as a result. In arguably the saltiest article that I've read from Eurogamer, Chris Tapsell writes,
listen, you can't, if Eurogamer, if this guy is actually from Europe, you can't take them seriously because, like I said, they have such negative views about America in general, especially when it comes to guns, that anything with guns, they're just gonna poop on.
If you're yet to hop on board and wondering what you're missing, you can relax. Palworld is big and controversial. It is also absolute rubbish.
And that's when you know, one, either they never played it thoroughly, or two, they have an agenda. And this is why people don't listen to most game developers, or not developers, but reviewers or reporters. Like journalists in general, like Paul Tassi I'll listen to, but I will never listen to Eurogamer based on this alone.
It's primitive and derivative, a game that appears at first glance to be completely fake. The type of thing quickly mocked up for a 3-second appearance on a teen's PC monitor in the background of a mid-budget TV drama. A game to be...
I guess they'll let anyone become a game journalist. Man, I guess I could do that too. Because I could make up crap like that on the fly about any game. Man, tell me you never played the game without playing the game.
Played one-handed with an N64 controller by Tony Soprano, although honestly, I think he deserved better. It's difficult to know where to begin with games like this. How do you break this down into its constituent problems when they're eclipsed by its very nature as a cynical, precision reverse-engineered machine designated to bottle your attention and refine it into concentrated cash? And it is cynical. Here's the developer, Takuro Mizobe, talking to Wire Japan in 2022 and responding with some admirable candor to a question about Nintendo, culture of prioritizing creative, original, high-quality work, and why he didn't get on with that. Quoting Takuro, "I have a deep-rooted desire for my work to be enjoyed by as many people as possible. And to that end, if there are good ideas in the world, I pick them up. And I don't think I need to be particular about originality. I want to make it less serious, or rather, more easygoing. I think it's good to create something in that way, like jumping on what's trendy. Lol. Now, what's most notable is
the developer's so based. But hey, if you make a good game based on something that's trendy, then yeah, I mean, why not? If it's good, people are gonna play it. And now, are survival art, like survival games, that trendy? Not necessarily. Is Pokemon trendy? It's always trendy.
Conclusion that Chris comes to in the end. Play Palworld and you won't feel like you're playing something that was made with thought, or craft, or any earnest team's best intentions. You won't feel admiration or wonder. You won't feel any real sense of achievement.
I don't know about that, Chief. I felt very achieved when I caught my first legendary. Those things suck and are hard to catch. Like, I felt very satisfied when I hit level 52.
You won't feel like any artist has been involved, or that anything meaningful might come to your mind. You will...
Okay, you're a douchebag because you just insulted the people that put, like, literally, these are a team of 20 or whatever, and someone who literally put time and effort into the art. Granted, I did say that gameplay matters most, but when you have good gameplay, and then you have people that put effort with the art, screw you, dude.
Will instead feel like you're playing a product designed to be sold rather than to be played.
Yes, that's why they sold it for $30. It was nothing more than a cash grab. They totally didn't want to spend. They totally pulled a Activision where they sold a DLC for $70, and there's less play time in the campaign. Like, what are you talking about, dude?
You will feel like a mark, and you'll be right. Do you know what? He's absolutely right. Chris, you got me. I feel like a mark. I feel like this game was specifically made and targeted for me.
Exactly.
I loved Pokemon as a kid.
I
torched every single TV remote I could find for more batteries. Sorry, Grandpa.
Oh, yeah, for the Game Boy Color. Yeah, I remember that.
The idea that making a game with the audience in mind first is a bad thing just blows my mind.
And it's obvious these game journalists are... They're either paid or they have their own agendas. And that's why people don't take the news or journalists serious nowadays, because they're paid or they have their own personal agendas. And that's why that's why I live in a life of skepticism. I don't subscribe to listening to just one person. I don't subscribe to just letting people feed me and then I just take whatever it is just because someone that has similar views to me. I don't just like jump on that bandwagon and be like, you know what? I agree with him. No, I do my own research. I look at data and I look at my own personal experience. We looked at the data for Palworld. I've experienced it. I've also played Pokemon. I love Pokemon. So I have come up to my own logical conclusion based on also my subjective views that Palworld is a good game.
And especially when he goes in to start talking about monetization at the beginning, where he says it's just something that's made specifically to make a profit, etc., etc.
$30.
Looks like every single AAA game that we've got over the years anyway. More so.
He's not wrong. That's literally all that AAA games are nowadays. Minus save a few that are really standouts, right? Like obviously Baldur's Gate was more than just a Dollar Tree, right? But most games nowadays from AAAs are nothing but cash grabs.
Where are the microtransactions in Palworld?
Yeah.
Where's the live service model?
Yep.
There is none. Nor is there any...
And even the developer even for Palworlds even came out and said, this is not a live service. They're not making this a live service game, meaning it's an early access so that they're still building on it. They might make expansions for it or something, like Ark Survival. But eventually it's going to be a full product like Cyberpunk. They may do updates or patches or whatnot, but eventually it's going to be its own thing, like Pokemon, where it's going to be as a full package. And that's fantastic.
A plan to be one. The lack of awareness on this, especially saying things like, oh, you will feel. Apparently, no, I won't be. And also
Hey, Eurogamer. Who's gonna feel like a mark? Is it the in 24 hours, the 2 million people, or the million? Because I guarantee you, there's more people interacting with this game than your trash article. In fact, Eurogamer's probably jealous that this game has more people interacting with it than they've ever had in any article they ever put out. How's that make you feel, Eurogamer? You jealous just like the developers? Because I smell the jealousy.
Million other people don't either. So you're proved wrong by that, my friend. Why would I care about the quibbling between studios of who made what first? What designs were made first? All I care about is an enjoyable product at the end of the day. That's for them to fight over and figure out and sue each other or whatever.
Exactly.
All we want are fun, enjoyable games.
Exactly.
That's it. Most of these games are derivative already. Many games are derivative. I don't think anything really is.
Yeah, like how many first-person shooter games are there, right? How many copies? Battlefield, Call of Duty. I'm thinking of other games like Roblox, or not Roblox, but the one that's kind of like Roblox. Isn't like, I forgot what it was. It was popular because Battlefield was such a disappointment. It looked like Roblox version of Battlefield. And there's like multiple other like games that are like Call of Duty. Like there's so many first-person shooter games out there. It's crazy.
All that new or unique in gaming. It's the approach that ends up being the most unique thing.
Exactly.
And
the most unique thing about Palworld is that it is a early access game, but it feels like it has more than the base game of many fully complete games. And there's no microtransactions. And it's not live service. That's huge.
Their approach with Palworld was great and made a game that a lot of people enjoy.
Exactly.
I love that he's making
If you make a good game, the people, the gamers, the consumers, they will come. Make a good game, and they will come.
CEO of Pocket Pair sound like he's Jordan Belfort. You know what Jordan Belfort was really good at?
No, I don't know who that is.
Understanding the needs of the customer and using that to be able to make money. Well, I mean, he was slimy. He knew that he needed to understand the customer first, their needs, their desires, and then utilize that to be able to make or deliver a product to them that they wanted. Find out what they want and give them what they want.
Which is something that developers are not actually doing, right? That's the big thing. Developers aren't making towards the consumer, just what they want to make.
You make money in return.
Money.
Crazy idea.
I know, it's crazy.
I've seen a lot of developers in my comment sections over the last couple months.
Oh, I bet.
Anytime I make comments where I'm like, oh, these devs, these studios, they'll pop in and they'll say, well, I'm a dev. I feel this way. I like Palworld. I like this. And I'm like, it's cool. But realize that when I use these kind of statements where I'm talking about studios or developers, you know who I'm talking about.
Exactly. Same thing here. Like, that's why I try to point specific developers out, so that you know that I'm not saying everyone. I'm sure there's developers that are excited for Palworld because they actually want their company to do it. Because, like Destiny, for example, there's a lot of developers that care about that game, but they're being inhibited by the leaders of the company. They want to be as creative, or they want to make something as fun as other games, but they can't because the leaders are restricting them. So yes, there's developers in other games, companies, other game companies that want to do what Palworld is doing, but they're being inhibited. And so they see this as a golden opportunity that maybe their company will open their eyes and allow them to do something like it. Oh, he's not talking.
And if you're watching this video, you know it's you.
Yep.
I really do hope that the industry does learn something from this.
They
and
should.
It doesn't necessarily mean that your games don't have to be the most creative. It's not necessarily always about the art. Well,
Nope.
there is definitely space for that, and that definitely does need to be in the industry. Sometimes the most original...
That is like the biggest thing about games. But the art, oh, the frames. Oh my God. Listen, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom was running on 30 frames, and it was one of the most successful games of last year. No one gives a crap really about frames or graphics as long as the game is fun.
ideas aren't the ideas that end up being the most successful or the ones that players want in the first place. And that's something to learn from. Palworld is such an incredible example of just giving players something that they wanted to. And there's so many other video game ideas that you could just say aloud and know, oh yeah, that's definitely something players are going to want. I'll give you a really good example. Call of Duty, want to know how to fix Warzone? Bring back Verdansk. Your audience has been asking for it the minute you got rid of it.
That's true. I mean, personally, I also liked Alcatraz. Alcatraz was my favorite map. Like, I actually play Warzone on Alcatraz because I remember fondly playing it in Black Ops, playing the zombies. Like, I want them to bring back Alcatraz for zombies. Like, an open world Alcatraz would be so cool for zombies, and just make some new investments on the island.
Like, it blows my mind. Like, it's literally the easiest solution to success. They loved that map. They didn't really care about getting another map. They didn't want another map, even when you said you were going to give them one. And they haven't been happy since. Give them what they want. It's not that complicated.
It's not.
The lack of awareness and ownership and the overblown egos of so many people, both in games journalism and also in game design as well, is just insane. Some of the things that we've seen developers say over the last few years, or even just over the last few months, looking like Starfield or Diablo 4. Oh,
God,
I want to talk about Diablo 4 and Season 3.
Oh, God, it's bad.
But man,
it's bad.
That horse is dead.
It is dead. Oh, my God. I was going to hop on and play because I was like, maybe I'll give Palworld a break, and it's dead, Jim. Season 2 was fantastic for Diablo, and it's dead now. All right, well, I'm going to end there on that. I appreciate you guys. One last thing. Palworld is coming to PS5. PlayStation's Shuhei Yoshida recently acknowledged Palworld sales on Twitter, saying congratulations. A fan responded by asking whether the game would come out on PS5. Yoshida responded, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, sorry, responded yes, and tagged PlayStation's partner development. Listen, if PlayStation thought that this game was a scam or stole assets from Nintendo, they would not put it on their console. Especially after the Cyberpunk fiasco. They literally removed Cyberpunk. So you have all these, it's coming to PlayStation. PlayStation's about to get some money out of it. Xbox is getting money out of it. Steam's getting all these companies, these head console companies are jumping on it. But who's not going to be jumping on it? Nintendo. Why? Well, we all know why. I think you guys hit the like button, comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more. As always, I'm Mr. Gaming Counselor. And don't forget to be the best version of yourself and game out.